Okay, so think about watching basketball today. Chances are you're seeing a ton of those long arcing shots, right? The
Oh,
three-pointers.
definitely. They're everywhere.
And it kind of makes you wonder, I mean, this has become maybe the defining thing in the modern game, but has it actually made it more exciting? Or, maybe less so?
That's really the core question, isn't it? And that's what we're digging into today. We've got this really interesting firsthand account here. Somebody actually sat down, watched a full NBA game, basically just to figure out how all these threes are affecting the game, the experience of watching it.
Exactly. Like, not just stats on a page, but how it feels to watch. So our mission for this deep dive is to, well, try to understand all the different ways this painted line on the floor is changing things. Strategy for sure, but also just that gut feeling you get as a fan. The excitement or maybe sometimes boredom. Oh,
Uh-huh. And the source we're looking at is this article, Basketball and the Three-Point Line Debate. Has the three-point line made basketball boring? A game-watching experiment.
yeah.
It lays out arguments for both sides, and it uses this like real-time game watching to test it out.
Okay, so this three-point line, it feels so, I don't know, permanent now. But it wasn't always part of the NBA game, was it?
No, not at all. The NBA brought it in for the 1979-80 season, and interestingly, they kind of borrowed the idea from the ABA, which was known for being a bit more, let's say, flashy.
Ah, okay. The old ABA flair.
Right, and the distance was set at 23 feet, 9 inches mostly, a bit shorter in the corners, 22 feet. They actually shortened it for a few years in the mid-90s, remember that? Trying to
Yeah.
boost scoring.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely recall that. Didn't last long, though.
Nope. By 97, 98, they pushed it back out to where it is now.
And since then, man, the number of threes has just gone through the roof. It feels like almost every trip down the floor ends with a three-point attempt.
Well, your feeling is backed up by the numbers, big time. Back in, say, 1980-81, teams were taking fewer than 3 a game on average, like 2.8 attempts.
Wow, 2.8. That's nothing.
Right. Now, fast forward to this season, 2024-25, we're talking over 35 attempts per game on average.
Mhm.
And some games, you'll see teams easily go over 50 attempts. It's a massive shift.
So what's driving that? Is it just like players suddenly got way better at shooting long bombs?
Well, player skill is definitely
Thinking.
part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
They practice it way more. But the real engine behind this change, analytics, it's the math.
The math, how so?
Okay, so even though the league-wide percentage for threes is around maybe 36%, which is obviously lower than for two-pointers, a made three is worth 50% more points, right? So over many possessions, taking a slightly lower percentage shot that's worth more points actually gets you more points per possession.
Ah, okay. Points per possession. That's the key metric.
Exactly. It's all about efficiency. So coaches, front offices, they've pushed hard on developing players' long-range shooting. And offensive strategies are now built around spacing the floor to get those open looks.
Like the Warriors, right? With Steph Curry basically launching from anywhere past half court sometimes.
Perfect example. They, and Curry especially, really showed what's possible,
Oh.
pushing that range out to like 30 feet almost. It's fundamentally changed offensive thinking from inside out to, well, outside in, kind of.
Yeah, you can see the appeal. A quick three can totally change the energy of a game, can it? Like, boom, momentum shift.
That's a huge part of the argument for excitement, absolutely.
Mhm.
It lets teams erase deficits really quickly. Think about it. A 9-point lead feels much less safe now than it used to.
Right, 3 possessions, potentially.
Exactly. And it creates these incredibly dramatic moments. Buzzer beaters, game winners, you mentioned Curry, but think about like Damian Lillard's playoff winner a few years back. That crazy deep shot, that's pure adrenaline fueled by the three.
Yeah, those moments stick with you. It adds that layer of anything can happen.
Totally. And it's not just the shot itself. The threat of the three changes everything else. It pulls defenders away from the basket, opens up driving lanes for guys who can attack the rim.
So players who can do both, inside and out, they really benefit.
Oh, massively. Think of someone like Kevin Durant. You have to guard him tight on the perimeter because of his shooting, but that gives him more space to drive if you close out too hard. It makes defending much more complex.
And defenses have had to adjust, right? You
No.
see different schemes now.
Absolutely. You see way more switching on screens where defenders just swap who they're guarding, and more zone defenses designed specifically to cover those perimeter areas. It adds this whole strategic chess match.
Plus, the pace seems faster sometimes. Lots of transition threes.
Yeah, they can definitely happen.
Mm.
Teams grab a rebound and look for a quick three before the defense is set. That faster pace can feel more exciting, especially maybe for more casual fans who like seeing lots of scoring and quick comebacks.
Okay, but then there's the flip side. The argument that maybe it's gotten a little boring or predictable.
That's the core criticism, yeah. That the games become too repetitive. The feeling is that too many possessions look the same. Run a pick and roll, try to get an open look from three, repeat.
And if those shots aren't falling, it can get pretty rough to watch.
Exactly. If a team is just chucking threes, as some people call it, and they're cold, the game can really bog down. It feels less fluid, less dynamic.
Does this experiment mention anything about that, like when the shooting goes cold?
It does, actually. It points to data from the 2023-24 season. It found that in games where teams took over 40 threes, which is a lot if they shot under 30% of those threes, scoring efficiency often dropped quite a bit. So you get these stretches where teams are firing away, missing, and not much else is happening. Kind of dull viewing.
And what about the shots we don't see as much anymore, like the mid-range game?
That's a huge point for the critics. The mid-range jumper, 10 to 20 feet out, that used to be an art form. Think of players like, well, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Masters of that area.
Yeah, the footwork, the fadeaways.
Right. Now, analytics basically says it's the least efficient shot in basketball. So players take way fewer. The article mentions only about 15% of shots come from that mid-range zone now.
15%. Wow, that's a massive change from, say, 20 years ago.
It really is. And this focus on the perimeter, it also means less action down low sometimes, fewer post-ups, less banging inside. Even big men are drifting out to the three-point line more often.
So less physicality, maybe?
For some fans, yeah. They miss that aspect of the game, that inside battle. It feels like a different style of play.
And didn't the person doing this experiment actually talk to a fan who felt that way? Was there a quote?
Yeah, there was. Let me find it. Here. It's just chucking threes and hoping they fall. Where's the artistry?
Ooh. Yeah, that kind of sums up that feeling, doesn't it?
It really does. It captures that sense that some variety or craft has been lost.
Okay, so tell me about this game-watching experiment itself. How did they set it up?
Pretty straightforward, really. The author picked a specific game, a 2025 matchup, Warriors versus Celtics.
Good choice. Two teams known for loving the three ball.
Exactly. High-volume three-point shooting teams. And the goal was just to watch the whole game, start to finish, paying super close attention to how the three-point line shaped what was happening, and crucially, how it felt to watch.
So what happened in the first quarter? Did it start hot?
Oh, yeah. Right from the tip-off, it was bombs away. Curry hit a couple early for Golden State. Tatum answered for Boston. Lots of threes early on. The pace felt really fast, teams pushing the ball. And a huge chunk of the shots were threes. The notes say 12 out of 20 total field goals in the quarter.
So exciting start then.
Definitely felt that way initially. The author mentioned a specific play, a contested corner three by a bench player that made the other team call timeout. That kind of sparked some energy.
Okay, but then the second quarter. Sounds like things cooled off.
That's where the predictability thing started to creep in, according to the account. Those teams seemed to be running the same kind of plays over and over, mostly pick and rolls, trying to spring someone open for three.
If the shot stopped falling.
Right. Boston apparently went cold, like 2 for 9 from three in the quarter. And the author noted feeling, well, a bit bored. Even admitted to checking their phone for a minute. Just felt like there wasn't much else happening, no post play, no mid-range stuff to break it up. Monotonous.
Wow. Okay, so that directly reflects the criticism we were talking about. But the third quarter picked back up.
Yeah, it seemed to swing back. There was a run fueled by a bunch of made threes, which obviously brings the energy level up. And there was an interesting point about an alley-oop dunk happening because the defense was so spread out guarding the three-point line.
So the threat of the three created the space inside.
Exactly. And defensively, things got more intense too, with teams really scrambling to close out on shooters. So, yeah, the engagement level went back up.
But then the fourth quarter, crunch time. How did the threes play out then?
It sounds like maybe too much reliance on the three, especially in the tight moments. The game was close, but both teams seemed to default to isolation plays ending in contested threes. The author actually counted like 7 missed threes in a row during a key stretch.
Ouch. That doesn't sound like great offense.
No. Yeah. It made the ending feel less like, smart, varied basketball strategy and more like just hoping someone gets lucky from deep, like a coin flip was the phrase used.
So who won in the end? And what was the final three-point tally?
Warriors won, 118-112. And between them, the two teams put up 42 three-point attempts.
42. Yeah, that's a decent number. So pulling it all together from the experiment and everything else, what's the big picture? Is the three good or bad?
Well, it's not that simple, is it? The conclusion from the piece is really that it's a classic double-edged sword.
Okay. Explain that.
It can create those absolutely electric moments, the huge swings, the comebacks, the buzzer beaters, real excitement. But that over-reliance, especially when shots aren't falling, can lead to these really dull, predictable stretches of play.
And the stats kind of back that up. The variance.
Yeah. You see the high average of made threes now, around 12.5 per game. But the percentage swings wildly game to game, even quarter to quarter, right? Between maybe 30% and 40% or even higher sometimes. That inconsistency in shooting leads to inconsistency in how good the game feels to watch. The experiment really showed that high peaks, but also some pretty low valleys in engagement, all tied to whether the threes were dropping.
But strategically, you can't ignore it. Coaches have to build around it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Coaches like Steve Kerr have won championships building systems around it. And players like Curry have totally changed what stardom looks like because of their three-point prowess. It's undeniably central to modern strategy.
But the cost is maybe less variety.
That seems to be the main consequence highlighted. Less post-play, maybe only 20% of shots in the paint now, which seems low.
Yeah.
And that mid-range game we talked about, that artistry is definitely fading. Fewer styles of offense seem to thrive.
And defensively. It forces changes, but maybe not always for the better.
Well, it forces innovation, new schemes, like we said. But yeah, the constant focus on guarding way out on the perimeter might mean less emphasis on traditional physical post defense, for example. So the takeaway from the experiment seems to be, yes, the three keeps games close. It adds potential for excitement. But when teams lean on it too heavily, it can make the viewing experience kind of flat for people who want to see more dimensions to the game.
So what about the future? Are we stuck with this, or could things change? Any talk of moving the line back or anything?
There's definitely been talk. People have floated ideas like moving a line back to, say, 25 feet universally, or even, adding a 4-point line for those super deep shots beyond 30 feet or whatever.
A 4-point line. Wow. That would be something.
It would. But honestly, major changes seem pretty unlikely right now.
Why is that?
Well, the stars like shooting threes. A lot of fans seem to like the scoring, the potential for comebacks. And the NBA is seeing record scoring numbers, right? Around 120 points per game on average. The league is popular globally. They might not want to mess with that formula too much.
Yeah, makes sense. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, from their perspective, maybe.
Pretty much. It feels like the three-point era is probably here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, it really comes down to that tension, doesn't it? The thrill versus the potential Greg.
Exactly. It gives us incredible highlights. It spaces the floor in useful ways. But it can also make the game feel a bit one-dimensional at times, like just a long-range shootout. It's democratized scoring in some ways. Anyone can potentially hit a three, but maybe at the cost of some strategic diversity.
Right. And the main takeaway, it seems, isn't that basketball is boring now, but that relying too much on just one aspect, the three-pointer, risks turning off fans who like seeing, the whole package.
That nails it. The analysis suggests the sweet spot is finding that balance, encouraging teams to mix it up, play inside and out. Keep the excitement of the three, but don't lose everything else that makes basketball great.
Which, brings us right back to that question from the article for everyone listening. What do you think? Has the three-point line ultimately made basketball better or worse?
Definitely something to chew on next time you're watching a game.
For sure. Keep thinking about how the game keeps changing.
Absolutely. Form your own opinion. It's part of what makes following the sport interesting.